I've been hearing, as I say, from Israel's ambassador to the UK, Ron Prosser. I asked him first about what Israel's goals are.
Israel left Gaza in 2005. We left all the settlements. We went completely out of Gaza, not wanting to return to Gaza, to leave that to the Palestinians in order for them to really build something which would be a beginning of a Palestinian state. And what we got since 2005 is approximately 8,000 rockets falling on the people of Sderot day in and day out. Hamas broke the ceasefire, and no pleads, neither from Egypt nor anyone else, made them change their mind. And we had rockets day in and day out on Israeli civilians. Now the question is, what do you do in a situation like that? No sovereign country can sit down and just accept that.
We've been trying all day to get calls into Hamas unsuccessfully. We've got questions to ask them, but in their absence I have questions to ask you. And one of them is whether you think this response is proportionate.
I absolutely think it's proportionate, and then the question that comes is the question of numbers.
Here's the question that comes. Why are you involved, your country involved, in attacks which are killing innocent civilians?
Every innocent civilian, this is not just me saying it because it's the right thing to say, is important, and I think that every innocent civilian that is killed is a tragedy.
But is it a price worth paying for Israel?
But Israel, and this is important, Israel is targeting the infrastructure of Hamas. Now, Hamas deliberately and cynically are putting the command and controls and the launching pads in highly populated areas, in playgrounds, in hospitals, in religious sites. They're doing that on purpose, and Israel is targeting Hamas's infrastructure.
5 young girls were killed as they slept in their beds last night.
Well, that is what I said, and you making me repeat that again. And I think it's important because when Israeli children in Sderot are under trauma, under pressure, because those rockets keep on falling, you couldn't, as a government, sit down quietly. Now, Israel is clearly targeting Hamas's infrastructure.
And sometimes missing.
And that's really sadly the case, because they're using and abusing their own population as human shields. Sometimes innocent people get killed, and we regret that.
But your country,
seriously.
Forgive me for interrupting, but your country is bombing an area which is the size of the Isle of Wight, but which has a population of 1.5 million people in it. Mm-hmm. Are you telling me that every civilian Palestinian who's died has been used as a human shield, has been in some way manipulated? None of this can be placed at the door of your country firing in the wrong direction at the wrong target?
Well, you are, and I think I am intelligent enough to know that that's not the case. But the question is, what do you do?
But let's look at the proportion. Let's look at the number of people who've killed on your side, the number of people who've been killed on their side.
Okay, so let's take the casualty numbers. The casualty numbers don't always tell the story of who morally, of one side of the conflict or the other, is morally right. In Afghanistan, 30,000 Taliban militants were killed in comparison to 100. No, but then to 109 British troops.
Afghanistan. Let me ask you.
No, because you asked me about, is it morally? Is Taliban morally superior to NATO and Afghanistan?
I asked no such question.
But look at the proportions.
Forgive me. Well, I'm asking about proportions, and yes. I'm asking whether you think whether a Palestinian life is the same as an Israeli life.
Obviously, a life is a life, and it's sanctuous by itself.
They have equal value in your view?
Absolutely. Every life has equal value to everyone. But I feel that this is important to look at what has happened. We warned them. We said, stop those missiles, so tomorrow morning there can be continuation of peace talks, as we're conducting with Mahmoud Abbas.
Isn't the problem that your bombs are landing on perhaps some extremists, but also the moderates? How are you winning hearts and minds in Gaza?
Again, you're posing the question, Israel is trying to target only infrastructure of Hamas, and they're using the launching pads from highly dense populated areas.
Well, it's hard not to have a densely populated area when it's just
but they're doing it. Look,
a few square miles.
I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. If you put a missile inside a house and you go to sleep with a missile, don't be surprised in the morning that someone is going to do something about that.
Are you prepared to reoccupy Gaza?
Look, we have no reason to reoccupy Gaza. We evacuated Gaza.
Is that a no?
We have no intention of reoccupying Gaza. It will not solve anything.
What are all those tanks doing on the border?
Well, the tanks on the border are presenting an option of maybe going into certain parts of Gaza in order to be more surgical in working against the infrastructure that Hamas has amassed. They've turned this into a hub, a terrorist hub that has regional implications both to Egypt and Jordan.
There may be, at some point in future, some political settlement in Gaza that satisfies everyone and peace comes to the area and so on. In the meantime, today, tomorrow, the next day, what should terrified Gazans do? Where should they go to ensure their safety? Where can they go?
Well, the Gazan population should make a choice, because their leadership is leading them, and they're leading all of us.
I'm not talking about
real
further
tragedy.
down the road and then the political talks which will no doubt ultimately take place.
Hamas is taking.
Perhaps. I'm talking about now, today, tomorrow. People who are genuinely in fear for their safety. Where should they go?
People who are genuinely in fear of their own future should make a point in not allowing Hamas and Hamas's people to shoot and launch missiles from their backyards.
They have no power to stop that now.
Of course they do. If the people have a lot of power if they really put their minds to it. We all believe that. We who live in democracies know that when people know that the wrong thing is being done, they can change a lot of things. They have to really rise to the occasion, because their leadership is leading them and leading us to something which is not in direction peace.
And if they don't rise up, they have themselves to blame for being in danger?
Well, the leadership, Hamas's leadership, we have nothing against the Palestinian people. We are conducting negotiations as we sit here with Mahmoud Abbas and the Moderate Palestinian Authority, and we would continue that and wanted to continue that until Hamas decided to break the ceasefire, and hopefully at the next stage, when Hamas leadership and infrastructure is destroyed, we'll be able to really get back into the negotiation table.
Israel's ambassador to the UK, Ron Prosser.